Hello, my dear students. Welcome to today's class. First of all, I want to say a very big thank you to you for being here with me. For me, it's such a great honor to have you as my students. I appreciate the fact that all the effort you've put in to learn and grow and get better in English studies. Sincerely, learning English is not always easy, but for the fact that you've joined this class, it shows that you are serious in improving yourself and getting better in English. So, thank you for giving me your attention. Thank you for choosing to learn with me. As your tutor, I promise you that this journey, English studies, is actually like a journey. So I promise you that this journey is going to be fun, creative, impactful, and inspiring. Yes, by the end of this class, oh yes, you're going to have more interest in studying English. Now, we are diving into the third topic in the JSS 1 first term curriculum, which is comprehension. So I know when you were in basic class, you must have been called, or your teacher must have told you to bring out your textbook, that it's time to read a story or a passage. Oh, yes, that is what comprehension is all about. But now that you are in JSS 1, grade 7, comprehension is beyond reading a story. So in this class, we are not just going to read a passage like we normally do and give answers to the question that follow the passage. In this class, we are going to learn how to become better in comprehension. This will help you get better in comprehension 1 and also have good scores in your exam by the end of the term or when you get to JSS 3. Now, what is comprehension? So I'm going to write the meaning of comprehension. First of all, meaning of comprehension. Please, I want you to know that if you are confused at some point or you have a question, you can do well to drop it in the comment section. Or if you are quite busy trying to listen, you can write down the question, then drop it later. Or if you are trying to get what I'm saying, you can as well pause the video, understand, and then continue playing the video, watching this class. Now, first of all, what is the meaning of comprehension? Comprehension means, or simply mean, comprehension simply mean to understand, what you read. So comprehension, this is the simplest definition you can get for comprehension. To comprehend means to understand. That is, have a good knowledge of probably what you see or what you've heard or what you read. Now, comprehension simply means to understand what you read. Now, for the only way you can say, I am able to comprehend this, or I read this and I scored well and all of that, it shows that you understand what you've read. So the main goal, or the whole aim of comprehension or reading a comprehension passage, is for you to understand. That is why it is called a comprehension passage, understanding a passage. So most times the passage could come in form of a story or information teaching you something. So it is not just about reading it and then answering the questions that follows it. It is about you saying it over and over again later, explaining to someone else something you've read in the class or in your textbook. So comprehension simply means to understand what you read. In this class, I'm going to teach you how to understand a passage because I know many students fail comprehension because they do not understand. They just rush through it and then copy the answers and they are done. No, in this class, we are going to learn how to understand the passage, how to become better in comprehension. I bet you by the end of this class, you would sit down probably with your friend and explain to your friend what you've learned and become very good in comprehension. Now let's move on to the steps to become better in comprehension. Now, my students, the first step to become better in comprehension is, I'm sure this step would be very shocking to you. So the first step is one, read the question, read the questions first. Yes, this is the first step to become better in comprehension. Read the questions first. I know probably you've had your own way of doing your comprehension passage where the first thing you do is as you're giving the passage you just read the story or read what is there, and then next thing you move on to the question and you start answering the question, you go back to the passage, you answer the question, you go back to the passage, you answer the question. Oh yes, that's very good. But for me, and now that this will help you, the first step to become better in comprehension is read the question first. Now, why did I say you should read the question first? One thing you should know is that the question serve as a map. In English, questions actually serve as a guideline or a map to something you're trying to get. Now, I want you to picture yourself now. You are told, or probably you heard, or you're told to find a treasure. So you're told to find the treasure and you ask for the location. Where is this treasure? And they said the treasure is located in the mountain. Let's say Mount Everest or just a mountain, in the mountains, in the bush where the mountain is. So the treasure is there. And you don't even know your way to the mountain. So you'll be confused. Okay, how do I get to the mountain to get this treasure? Why are you going to the mountain to get the treasure? Very good. Now you don't even know your way to the mountain. What do? You ask for a map, right? Good. You ask for a map. The map shows you or give you direction. On the map, it gives you direction on how or the places you need to get to before you get to where the treasure is in the mountain. So same thing goes to questions in comprehension passage. So the thing there is that the map is a guideline. It shows you where to get to where the treasure is hidden, right? Very good. So we have the map and then we have the treasure in the map. So the question, now let's visualize the question as the map. So the question is the map and the answer to the question is the treasure. So first of all, you need the map, right? Oh yes, you need the map. You need the map to get the treasure. So for instance, you're given a comprehension passage of Andrew in the market. Andrew in the market. Now, you rush down to the question first to read the question. And then you see a question like, why did Andrew go to the market? Okay, that's a map. The map is there. So the treasure is, what is the answer to why did Andrew go to the market? So we can find the treasure where? In the comprehension passage. Very good. So what do? You start searching, right? Very good. Just like when you were trying to get the treasure, you journey your way down to the mountain. Same thing goes to this. So you start searching. So the question said, why did Andrew go to the market? Your key words will be Andrew and market. So when you get to the comprehension passage, you're trying to look for where the word Andrew and the word market is, and you blend it together to see if this is the answer, which is your treasure at that point. So one of the steps, the first step to become better in comprehension is read the question first. This will help you actually in competition or quizzes or exams that is limited. You have a certain amount of time to finish up. So in a scenario where you are giving close to, let's say, 4 or 5 paragraph that comprises of a story, that is all about a story or a passage, and you're just giving, let's say, 5 minutes to answer 5 questions from that comprehension passage that has close to 5 paragraphs in 5 minutes. This step will help you to get a very good score and finish up the comprehension passage. But take note, one thing is that the understanding part will not be there because it is just for a quiz or competition and the rest. But if you want to have a proper understanding, you have to go back and read it. So this is the first step to become better in comprehension. The next step is read the passage carefully. Now, one thing I want you to know is that, my student, is that comprehension is not about speed. It's not about speed, just reading, rush through it. No, 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 no. You have to stay on it. You have to be very focused. Stay on it. Read it. If you read it for the first time and you notice that you do not understand what the passage is all about, take a deep breath. Relax. If your mind is quite busy and you're like, oh no, I need to understand this, okay, just take a pause, and just probably just look at the comprehension passage, and then start reading again. The moment you get yourself, start reading again, and I bet you will be able to understand the passage. The only way you can understand and answer the question correctly is for you to read the passage carefully. Take note, this first step will help in competition and quizzes and any exam that you have limited time. But for this, for you to understand the passage, yes, the step to become better in comprehension is to read the passage carefully. Focus one step at a time, one word to the next word, to the next paragraph, the next sentence, and so on. Now, the next step is understand. Understand the meaning. Understand the meaning. It simply means to understand the meaning of the passage, what the passage is all about. Now, first of all, the only way you can understand the passage is you have to read the passage carefully, right? Slowly, stay focused, relax, let it sink into your head, into your brain, your mind, everything, so that you can be able to understand. Also, one of the ways to understand is asking yourself questions. The WH questions. This is it. The WH questions. Questions like, who is this story about? What happened in this story? Where and when did it happen? Why did it happen? You see, these are the WH questions you ask yourself. So when you've asked yourself questions like that and you are able to answer this question, I bet you've had a proper understanding of what the passage or the story is all about. The next step is look for clues in the passage. Look for clues in the passage. Yes, look for clues in the passage. Every answer for each question is in the passage. All you just need to do is search for it in the passage. So you get to every answer is actually in the passage. There are some questions that yes, you have to process your mind. You just have to bring it in your own word. For that's the only way you can answer the question. There are some questions they ask you, said in your own word. Why is this? Why did this happen to John? Or why do you think this happened to John in the passage? So that one you have to bring it from your own thought process, right? Very good. But I want you to know that every answer is embedded in the passage. The last step to become better in comprehension is this is very important. Answer in complete sentence. So, majorly, this is why most students fail comprehension. I do not want you to fail comprehension too. So, please listen. Answer in complete sentence. In English studies, if you are doing a comprehension passage, make sure your answers are in full. Most of us, we just want to rush it down, just make it brief. But this is the answer, so I just try to make it brief. No, no, no. In English, make sure your answers are in complete sentence. For instance, you read the passage, like the example we use in number one step. You read the passage of Andrew in the market, and you ask, where did Andrew go to? Most of us will just write the market. You see, that's the answer. Yes, very good, that's the answer. But no, do not answer in that form. Make sure your answers are in complete sentence. Andrew went to the market. That is a full and complete sentence, a full and complete answer. I bet you if the total score of that question was 5, oh yes, you get 5/5. So make sure you answer in complete sentence. So these are the steps to become better in comprehension. So we have to read the question first. We have to read the passage carefully. We have understand the meaning, look for clues in the passage. Every answer is embedded in the passage. Lastly, answer in complete sentence. Now we're going to use this step to go through a comprehension passage right now. Now, we want to read the comprehension passage titled The Family. So I want you to take note of words like, let's say, family, children, parent, so that we can be able to answer the question, and apart from answering the question, have a proper understanding of what this comprehension passage is all about. So let's read together. The family. The family is the first and most important group a child belongs to. It is made up of parents, children, and sometimes other relatives like grandparents, uncles, and aunts. In the family, children first learn how to speak, respect others, and obey rules. Good families provide love, care, and protection for their members. Every member of the family has a role to play. Parents work hard to provide food, shelter, and education for their children. Children are expected to respect their parents, help with household chores, and study well in school. When family members love one another and do their duties, the family becomes peaceful and happy. So this is the comprehension passage for the family. Now let's move on to the question. First of all, you should know that this comprehension passage is all about the family, the roles and duties of every member in the family. So we have the father, the mother, when you combine them together, they are parent, then we have the role of the children. So now let's move on to the question. The first question says, according to the passage, why is the family important? I said earlier that one of the steps to become better in comprehension is, first of all, you answer your question in full and look for clues in the passage. Your answers is always embedded in the passage. So let's answer this question. According to the passage, why is the family important? So now this is a guide. Now let's look for our treasure, which is the answer in the comprehension passage. If you look at the first sentence in the comprehension passage, it says the family is the first and most important group a child belongs to. So to answer this, why is the family important? You say the family is important because it is the first and most important group a child belongs to. So that's a full sentence, and that is a correct answer. So I'll come again. According to the passage, why is the family important? The family is important because it is the first and most important group a child belongs to. So your answer is in the first sentence in the comprehension passage. Now let's move on to question 2. Mention 3 people who can also be part of the family. So mention 3 people who can also be part of the family. In the family, we have the father, the mother, and the children, right? So let's mention 3 other persons that can also be part of the family. Now let's move on. Let's check again the comprehension passage to get our treasure, which are the answers. Now, if you look at the sentence 2, it says it is made up of parent, children, and sometimes other relatives like grandparent, uncle, and aunt. So to answer this, so we have grandparents. Mention 3 people who can also be part of the family. You say grandparent, uncles, and aunts can also be part of the family. So that is the answer to question 2. Now let's move on to question 3. What are 2 things children learn first in the family? What are 2 things children learn first in the family? Now, sentence 3 in the comprehension passage answers this question. In the family, children first learn how to speak, respect others, and obey rules. But the question said we should list down 2 things children learn first in the family. So you start with children first learn how to speak and respect others. But in a scenario where you ask, okay, what are 3 things, or what are the things children learn first in the family as mentioned in the passage, then you go straight. In the family, children first learn how to speak, respect others, and obey rules. But in this question, it says, what are 2 things children learn first in the family? So children first learn how to speak, and the next one is respect others. Now, question 4. State 2 duties of parents and 2 duties of children mentioned in the passage. The 2 duties of the parent and the 2 duties of children mentioned in the passage. Now, let's look at this next sentence. It says, every member of the family has a role to play. Role can also be called duties. Parents work hard to provide food, shelter, and education for their children. Children are expected to respect their parents, help with household chores, and study well in school. So these are the duties highlighted in the passage. So to answer this question, it said two duties of parents. Parents' duties is to provide food and shelter. So the duties of the parent is to provide food and shelter. Then two duties of the children, you say the duties of the children is to respect their parents and help with household chores, or you can say help with household chores and study well in school. Most times you can have another question that says, in your own word, how can the family become peaceful and happy? In your own word. This is an inferential question where you have to go through your thought process, bring it out in your own word. You answer in your own word. What you use your understanding of the passage to answer questions like this. So when you ask in your own word, it is through your understanding that you get to answer questions like this. So I'm asking you, in your own words, how can the family become peaceful and happy? Yes, the answer is actually in the comprehension passage. But I want you to drop the answer in the comment section. I will surely respond to all of your answers. My dear students, thank you once again for joining me in today's class. You are welcome to English class. In this class, we will be learning language skill, which is under vocabulary development. Now, imagine you are introduced to a new language other than what you normally use to communicate. One way or the ways to learn that language and be very good in that language is for you to first of all listen to the language. So you have to listen to the native speakers. Those are the people that owns the language. You listen to them. As you listen to them, then you start speaking, right? Good. You start speaking. Then moving on, you get to know how to read the language. And finally, you can now write down the language. The first thing you did was to listen. The second was to speak. The third was to write it down, read the language. And then lastly was writing it down. So these four that I just mentioned are called the four language skills. You must master the art of these four language skills for you to be very good in in any language you've learned so far. But majorly we are focused on English language. Now, what is the meaning of language skill? I'm going to write that down. Meaning of language skills rather. Language skills are the abilities we use to understand and use a language correctly. So language skills are the abilities we use to understand and use a language correctly. Now, under language skill, we have four language skill. We have four types of language skill. We have four language skills. We have number one, the listening skills. Number two, we have the reading skill. Number three, we have the speaking the speaking skill, before we have the writing skill. So now these are the types of language skill. You must gain mastery, you must be very good in these four skill for you to use a language correctly. So take for instance, it's just like a car that has four wheels. So a car has four wheels, four tires that moves the car. If one wheel get bad, you notice that the car movement will automatically change. It is either it's moving slowly or it cannot even move at all. Same thing goes to these skills that will enable you get better in learning or using a language correctly. So you must be very good in listening, reading, speaking, and writing. And in this type of language skill, it is further divided where listening skill and reading skill are receptive skill. They are called receptive skill. Receptive skill is to receive. These skills receive information. Majorly, communication is all about sharing information, sharing ideas, speaking to somebody, and all of that. So, listening and reading skill, they receive information. When you're good in this, you'll be able to receive information from another individual. Then, speaking and writing skill is called production skill. Production skill. Production skill is to share information. So one thing you should know, like I said earlier in communication, is to share ideas, to share information and receive information, to decode and encode. So as I'm speaking to you right now, you are decoding what I am saying, right? Very good. You're hearing sounds, words, so you're trying to decode what I'm saying so that you can be able to understand. So what I'm doing is sharing information. And when you speak to me back, when you give me feedback, I have to listen to you, right? Very good. So I'm receiving information. So for the speaking and writing skill, like I'm speaking and I'm also writing. So what I'm doing is I'm sharing information. For you now, you are listening and reading what I am writing on the board. So what you are doing is you're receiving information. So we both have to be very good in these four skill to be able to receive information, the listening and the reading, then speaking and writing to be able to share information. Now, let's dive into the types of language skill. First of all, we will go through each of this language skill and what it entails, what it is all about, practice on it. So the first language skill we're going to learn is the listening skill. Now, the first language skill we'll be learning today is the listening skill. Listening skill. What is listening skill? Meaning of listening skill. Listening skill. Listening skill means paying attention to sounds and words. Sounds and words people say, and understanding their meaning. So listening skill means paying attention to sounds and words people say and understanding their meaning. So for you to get better in English language, you have to learn the listening skill. You have to pay full attention to what people say. Now I want you to know that hearing and listening are two different things. I'm going to paint a scenario right now. Let's picture ourselves. Let's imagine ourselves now walking around in our neighborhood. So as you're walking, you get to hear so many sounds, right? Yes, you get to hear so many sounds, but you cannot identify these sounds. Why can't you identify these sounds? Because you are not paying full attention to the sounds. You just want to get to where you're going to, or probably you're taking a stroll. So you just want to just move around and not pay attention to anything. But if you are to pay attention to the sounds, you can be able to identify them. That, oh, this is the sound of the car, this is the sound of an animal, probably a dog, or this is the sound of someone, of the sound of a table, someone dropped the table or the chair or whatever it is. So what you've done is you've listened. For you to be able to identify these sounds, you have to listen. So in a scenario where your teacher or someone asks you or someone tells you, bring your notebook, you must have heard the sound, yes. Now, for you to listen is you have to pay full attention to what the person just said. The person said, bring your notebook. So every word that comes out from the person's mouth, you decode the word. And after decoding the word, you are able to understand that, okay, the person said, I should bring my notebook. For the individual that has been told to bring the notebook, if he or she just rushed down to bring his textbook, what he or she has done is he just heard, she just heard, she didn't listen. But if he or she had listened, he would have gone to bring his or her notebook. So listening skill means paying attention to sounds and words people say, meaning giving full concentration, all the attention you have, like avoiding distraction and paying full attention to what is being said. So one thing, for you to be a good listener, your mind and your ear have to work together. For you to just hear a thing, your ear is working, but your mind is not working with it, because the understanding part is in your mind, is in your brain. So the mind and the ear have to work together for you to be able to listen properly. And this will help you in using English. Now, we have two type of listening skill. We have types of listening skill. Type of listening skill. So the first type is one, the attentive listening. Attentive listening. Then the second is the casual listening. The casual listening. So for the attentive listening, you give full concentration to what is being said. No, just imagine you're in a gathering of people, and there's a speaker talking about something, or you are in the classroom and your teacher is teaching like the way I'm teaching right now. All you just need to do is pay full concentration to what is being said for you to understand. So attentive listening is paying full concentration without any form of distraction. For instance, if you are blindfolded, it is very easy for you to concentrate on any sound and decode that sound, because one of the things about listening is that most times our eyes, our sight, is almost like a form of distraction. So if you are blindfolded and you're asked the question, okay, we're about to make a sound, we want you to tell us this sound, you'd be able to get the sound because there is no distraction at all. But that doesn't mean you should close your eyes to any sound to be able to detect the sound. All you just need to do is let your mind and your ear work together when it is for attentive listening. So attentive listening is full concentration. Full concentration. Why for casual listening is paying less attention. Casual listening is paying less or giving less attention to sound or words or what people is saying. So when the person is talking to you, you're not really interested, so you just pay less attention. And when you ask, what did I say, or repeat what I've said, oh, I can't really remember what you said, because you were practicing casual listening. You paid less attention. For casual listening, we have like listening to music. So you just hearing the sounds, and you just going on with the jams and all of that, but you're not really paying attention to each word or the lyrics in the music. But for you to learn and use English well, you have to practice attentive listening. That is full concentration to what is being said. Let your mind and your ear work together. Now, how do you become a good listener? How to become a good listener? How to become a good listener? So this tip will help you. First of all, the first one is pay full attention. Pay full attention. Your full attention is needed. The second is avoid the distraction. Avoid anything that would distract your mind from your ear, because your ear is always picking sounds every day, every moment, but your mind needs it. So avoid distraction. Number three is look at the speaker. Look at who is talking. That can also help you avoid distraction. Look at the speaker. Look at who is talking. Then number four, people don't really do this. That is why they find it hard to listen. Is when the person is talking, think about what is being said. Let it process in your mind. So that's the fourth on how to become a good listener. Think about what is being said. Think about what is being said. So when the person is speaking to you and you're trying to listen to the person, so any word the person says, think on it. So like I'm teaching now, teaching you, and I just said that how to become a good listener, pay full attention. So you pick that word, okay, pay full attention. So you are thinking, how does it mean to pay full attention? I mean, I have to cut off distraction. And see, that is what is going on in your mind. And in that process, you're getting to understand what the person is saying. But when you just hear the person talk, and the next thing is, oh, I don't understand what you're saying, please read it. No, you have to calm down. Think about what is being said. As long as you've heard the person, not listen. You've heard the person. Think, let it process your mind the words that the person said, and you will be able to understand and get better and become a very good listener. The fifth one is the last one on how to become a good listener is ask question. Always ask question. If you do not hear properly, ask again. Please, what do you mean by this? Probably you pick out the words and you're trying to process it in your head, but you still don't understand. It's fine, very fine. All you just need to do is ask your speaker question. Okay, please, can you repeat yourself what you meant by this? So this is one of the language skill, which is listening skill. So now we're going to practice something. We're going to practice something on listening skill. Now, this is a listening passage. So we want to practice our listening skill. So I'm going to read this passage to you. All you just need to do is calm, relax, listen to me as I read, try to decode every word that I say, meaning understand every word that I say, and check if you're really listening. But if you're confused at some point or you get stuck, you can go ahead to pause the video, listen to it again, because the only way you can answer the question below is for you to have listened to what I will be reading. So now it's time. I want you to sit, be calm, and listen to me. One Saturday morning, Ada went to the market with her mother. They bought rice, beans, and some fresh fruit. Ada was happy because her mother also bought her a new pair of shoes. I'll read it again. One Saturday morning, Ada went to the market with her mother. They bought rice, beans, and some fresh fruits. Ada was happy because her mother also bought her a new pair of shoes. Now, you can go ahead to pause the video, listen to it again. All right. Now, I'm sure you must have listened to it and you get what is being said. You have a proper understanding of what you just listened to. Now, let's answer the question. On what day did Ada go to the market? So, on a Saturday morning. That is the answer for the first question. Who went with Ada to the market? Good. Ada went to the market with her mother. Very correct. The last question, let's answer it together. Why was Ada happy? Very good. Ada was happy because her mother also bought her a new pair of shoes. Very, very good. You deserve some accolades for listening and answering the question. So we just practice our listening skill. Now let's move on to the next, which is the speaking skill. The next language skill we'll be learning is the speaking skill. The speaking skill, which I'm doing right now. Now, what is the meaning of speaking skill? Meaning of speaking skill. So speaking skill means the use of our voice and words to share information, ideas, and feelings to others. So speaking is all about correct pronunciation. It's how we interact with other people around us. That is all about speaking. Now, what I'm doing is I'm speaking to you, I'm talking to you. So I'm practicing the speaking skill. Many of us have issues with pronunciation. So as you begin to learn and speak loudly where you can hear yourself and correct your words, you will be very good in speaking. So one of the ways you can be very good in English language is to own your speaking skill. That is, get better in speaking. So speaking skill means, or speaking means, the use of our voice and words to share information, ideas, and feeling to others. Now, type of speaking skill, we have types of speaking. We have so many type of speaking skill, but we'll just be taking 3 in today's class. We'll be taking 3 types of speaking skill. So we have conversation, dialogue. Number 1 is conversation, dialogue. So this is when you are speaking to someone where you say something and the person respond to what you have said. So take for instance, you greet someone, you say, "Oh, good morning," and the person respond, "Good morning, how are you doing? So that's the dialogue right there. And then you respond, I am fine. How about you? And the person respond back and say, oh yes, I am very good. Thanks for asking. So that is conversational um, for the type of speaking. Then the second type of speaking is discussion. So this type, you get to talk about something that is of interest to you. So you get to share an information with somebody else. Probably you watch the football and you like the football. So you get to discuss about it. So what you're doing is you're speaking. Yes, you're practicing the speaking skill. One thing is that the more you speak, the more you use words, the more you get better at it. That's just it. So if you do not use these words and try to get the correct pronunciation of the word, you won't be able to be very good in speaking. So even if you're finding it hard to share ideas because you cannot really pronounce the word, just get the correct pronunciation of each word and keep speaking. Be able to hear yourself so you can equally correct yourself. You can as well tell someone else that, okay, please, I want you to listen to me as I speak and correct me. I just want to be very good in speaking, because if you are not good in speaking, people won't be able to understand you. So type of speaking, we have discussion, and the last type of speaking is public speaking. Public public speaking. So public speaking is when you are in a gathering and you are the speaker for the day. So you're meant to stand on the podium and speak to as many persons. There are some persons that are very good with this skill, but it's just that they have stage fright and the rest. So you have to work on that for you to be very good in speaking. So speaking skill is all about using your voice and your words to share information in a way that if you are very good in this skill, people would be able to understand you. Effective communication will not be a problem to you. Because most times there are some persons that are very good with listening, but they cannot convey what they have listened or what they understand. You see why I said that these four skills, these four language skills is very important for you to use English language correctly. So as you're learning how to listen, you also learn how to speak, because after listening you have to speak, right? Yes, like I said earlier, after learning as you're learning a native language, the first thing you do is to listen, then you move on to speaking the language, right? Very good. So after listening, you have to be very good in speaking, conveying what is in your mind to another person, and the person is able to understand you. So this is all about speaking skill. Now let's move on to reading skill. But before we move on to reading skill, I want us to practice something. So imagine you're asked to introduce yourself. What will you say? First of all, you tell us your name. What is your name? My name is, I am how many years old? You tell us your age, and you tell us probably your best subject and the likes. So I want you to go ahead to practice it by introducing yourself, telling us your name, your age, the best subject, your best food, and any other thing about you. You can just tell someone to watch you as you do it, and if there's any errors, the person should correct you. So now let's move on to reading skill. Now, the third language skill is the reading skill. Reading skill. Now, what is reading skill? What is reading skill? Reading is the ability to look at written words, letters, symbols, and understand the message given. So, reading is all about looking at the written words and having a proper understanding of the message given. Reading is not just about saying the words alone. You also need to understand what you are saying. So, reading is saying the words correctly, and also having a proper understanding of what you just said. So in a scenario where it says the boy the boy is playing football. The boy is playing football. So you are told to read this. The boy is playing football. So the first thing you do is you read it, right? Yes, you read it, you say the words, you say it out loud. If you don't want to say it out loud, keep it to yourself, but you say the words. And then after then, what do? You try to understand that, oh, the boy is playing football. So one of the ways you can be very good in English is for you to have the ability to look at written words and understand the message given. Now let's move on to types of reading. Types of reading. Types of reading. We have the silent reading. Silent reading. So silent reading is reading to yourself. So probably you have a storybook to read and you just want to read it. You do not want anyone to, you don't want to read it to anybody. You just want to read it to yourself. So you take the book and you start reading. Most times probably you are not even saying it out loud, but it's going on in your mind. So that is silent reading. Silent reading done by is used majorly for exams. When you're about to take an exam, so you are preparing for the exam, majorly students use this a lot. Silent reading, in fact, it helps you comprehend better and also make you remember what you have read and all that. So the next type of reading is loud reading. Loud reading. So loud reading is the opposite of silent reading. If silent reading says you read to yourself, then loud reading will be you read to people. So when you want to read to people, you have to say it out loud, right? So if you are giving a book to read, you have to say it out loud for everyone to read. So that's loud reading. Then the next type of reading is intensive reading. Intensive reading. Now, intensive reading is reading to understand. That's why it's called intensive. It is reading to understand what you have read. It is not just saying the words alone. You understand each word that you just read. So intensive reading occurs in, let's say, comprehension passage, where you have to read the passage and have a proper understanding of the passage. So what you do in every comprehension passage is intensive reading. What you do when you're preparing for exams, you have to understand what you're reading so that you can pass the exam, is what also intensive reading. The last type of reading is extensive reading. Extensive reading. Now, extensive reading is just reading for fun. So when you're giving majorly we read storybook for fun, we read novels for fun. So that is all about extensive reading, reading for fun. Probably you have a comic book and you just want to relax and enjoy the story. So what you're doing is extensive reading. So the types of reading, we have silent reading, reading to yourself, loud reading, reading to people, intensive reading, reading to understand, and extensive reading, reading for fun. So if you want to be very good in English language, you have to be very good in this skill, that is reading skill. You are able to say the words correctly, and also understand what you have said. Now let's move on to the last language skill. The last language skill for you to use English effectively is writing skill. Writing skill. Now, what is the meaning of writing? What is writing? Writing mean writing means putting down words, ideas, information on a piece of paper or on the screen, like what I'm doing right now, in a clear and meaningful way. Now, let's go through the definition of writing again. Writing means putting down words, ideas, information on a piece of paper. It's different from speaking. Speaking is you using your voice to express yourself, your ideas, or whatever you have in mind to tell someone. You have to use your voice, your mouth, to say it out, to pass it to the other person, to share it to the other person. But for writing, you don't need to use your voice. All you just need to do is take a piece of paper and a pen. So now I'm sharing an information to you. I am putting down my ideas on writing skill. And how am I doing that? I'm writing it on the board. So this, what I'm actually doing is writing. So writing is the ability to put down words. When you have the ability to put down words, ideas, information on a piece of paper in a clear and meaningful way, in a way that everyone that reads it will have a proper understanding of what you have written as the writer. Now, for you to be a very good writer, one, you must know how to spell correctly. You must be very good in spelling. Also, your grammar, your sentence construction must be correct, your nouns, your verb, and your tenses. Then also, you must be able to arrange your ideas in orderly. So the introduction, from the introduction to the body, and then to the conclusion. Then we move on to proper punctuation. For you to be a good writer, your punctuation, you must have proper punctuation, because you have to pay very close look at punctuation. You have to learn how to punctuate right for you to be a good writer. Then the last one is your handwriting must be very neat and legible. Legible in a way that everyone can see it, and they are not confused when they are reading, and it must be very neat. So all these are things that you must put in place for you to be a good writer. So writing, like I said earlier, means putting down words, ideas, information on a piece of paper or on the screen in a clear and meaningful way. So I want you to do this. Now, I want you to take a piece of paper. Let's practice it. Take a piece of paper and your pen, write down your name. So I want you to write down your name, the name of your school, and your best subject. So I'm going to do mine right now. So I'm going to write down my name. So I'll say my name is Love. The name of my school is Oyalen. The name of my school is Oyalen. My best subjects is, can you guess my best subjects? is what I'm teaching right now. So my best subject is English studies. So what I've just done is I just practiced the writing skill. My name is Love. The name of my school is Oya Lane. My best subject is English studies. You can see that I made use my write up is ordered. So this is the introduction. The name of my school is Oya Lane. My best subject is English studies. And also my writing is legible. You can be able to see it. So I want you to take a piece of paper and write down your name, the name of your school, and your best subject. Thank you very much for staying through this class. I'm sure you must have learned a lot in this class. So if this class has been of good help to you, I want you to click the subscribe button and also click the bell icon to get notified whenever we update new videos in this YouTube channel. And also do well to like and share it to other students that need to see this. Thank you very much once again.